You ever notice how the people who scream the loudest about protecting property usually don't even own any?
Yeah,
Today's story is about a man accused of trespassing on his own land. And trust me, this one will make you sit back, clench your fists, and rethink how quick some folks are to judge just by looking at somebody's skin color. So let's dive in. Picture this, it's a quiet Saturday morning in Atlanta, Georgia. The kind where the air feels heavy, like a storm's been holding its breath. A man named Marcus, tall, mid-40s, wearing a plain hoodie and jeans, walks across a gated neighborhood he just moved into. He's carrying a backpack stuffed with paperwork, because today, he plans to start organizing his new house, his dream home. Now, Marcus is not some random dude, drifting around. This man worked his way up the hard way. Grew up in Southside Chicago, raised by a single mom who worked double shifts as a nurse. He saw eviction notices taped to his door more times than birthday cards. He was that kid doing homework by the corner store lights because electricity got cut off at home. But he never gave up. He studied, hustled, worked odd jobs, eventually landed a stable career in IT. Years of saving, sacrifice, eating ramen when his coworkers were out having steak dinners. Finally, he got to a point where he could buy property, real property. Not a rental, not a cramped apartment, but an actual house with a lawn, in a neighborhood he used to only drive past and dream about. This was his win. His proof to himself and to every kid back in Chicago that it's possible. But as Marcus walks up to the front of his brand new home that morning, keys in hand, a security SUV rolls up and screeches to a stop. A man in uniform steps out, security guard, mid-50s, pale face twisted with suspicion. His name's Carl. The type of guy who thinks a shiny badge gives him more power than the law. Carl shouts, "Hey! What are you doing here? This is private property." Marcus looks up, calm, a little confused. "Morning. I live here." Carl laughs like he just heard the dumbest joke. "Live here? Don't play games with me. Houses in this community aren't cheap. Let's see some ID." Now Marcus has dealt with this his whole life, being questioned, doubted, stopped, even when he's done nothing wrong. He knows the drill. He pulls out his driver's license, keeps his voice steady. "My name's Marcus Johnson. Bought this place last month. Just moved in." But Carl doesn't even glance at the ID. He shakes his head, already convinced of his own story. No. I know the homeowners in this block. You don't belong here. You're trespassing." That word, trespassing, hits Marcus like a slap. Imagine finally breaking generational chains of poverty, finally stepping into something you earned, and the first thing somebody tells you is you don't belong. Marcus clenches his jaw. "I belong here. Matter of fact, I can prove it." He points to his backpack. "I've got the deed. Right here." Carl squints, scoffs. "Deed? What are you talking about?" Marcus sets the bag down on the hood of the car, unzips it slowly, because he knows any sudden move could be twisted the wrong way. Inside, neatly packed, is a thick folder with stamped documents, signatures, seals. He pulls out the official title deed with his name bold at the top, Marcus D. Johnson, owner of 245 Pine Creek Lane. He holds it up steady, locking eyes with Carl. "This is my house. My name. My land. You want proof? This is it." Carl freezes. For a second, the whole world goes quiet. You can almost hear the sound of his authority crumbling. But instead of admitting he was wrong, Carl doubles down. "Anybody can fake papers. Don't think you can trick me. I'll call the cops right now." Marcus exhales, frustration bubbling. "Call them. Please do. Because when they show up, you're gonna see just how wrong you are." And here's where the story spirals deeper. See, Marcus isn't just holding a deed. That house isn't just some random investment. There's history tied to it, history Carl doesn't know, history Marcus has carried like armor his whole life. Let's rewind. Marcus's grandfather, Robert Johnson, was part of the Great Migration, black families moving from the Deep South to northern cities like Chicago in the 1940s. He left behind fields he sharecropped but never owned, dreaming his grandkids might someday claim a piece of land for themselves. But racism was ruthless. Banks denied loans, realtors drew red lines on maps, landlords jacked up rent. Robert died never owning anything but the clothes in his closet. Marcus's father, Charles, worked in factories until the plants shut down. Lost everything in the layoffs of the 80s. He used to tell Marcus, "Son, if you ever get the chance, don't just rent. Own. They can raise rent, they can evict you, but if your name is on that deed, nobody can tell you you don't belong." Those words burned into Marcus's brain. Every overtime shift, every paycheck saved, every temptation to blow money, he remembered that promise. So buying this house wasn't just about comfort. It was about legacy. About planting a flag where his family had always been told, "Not for you." So when Carl stands there, accusing him, Marcus feels his grandfather's ghost in the air, his father's voice in his chest. He knows he's not just defending himself. He's defending generations. Back to the scene, Carl finally calls the cops. 2 patrol cars pull up, lights flashing. Neighbors start peeking out from blinds and doorways, whispering, pointing. You can guess what story they're already telling themselves. Man in hoodie, must be trouble. An officer steps out, hand resting on his holster. "Sir, we got a call about trespassing. Can we see some ID?" Marcus doesn't flinch. He lays the deed across the hood like it's a royal decree. ID's right here. Proof of ownership. That's my house behind me. The officer picks up the paper, scans it, looks at Marcus's license, then back at the deed. His face shifts. He turns to Carl. Looks legit. His name's on everything. Carl sputters, red-faced. "You don't understand, he can't possibly." But the officer cuts him off. "He can. He does. This man owns the property. You're the one in the wrong." And just like that, the power balance flips. The neighbors who were peeking out suddenly pull their blinds shut. Carl stammers something about, "just doing my job," but everyone can see the truth. He wasn't protecting property. He was protecting his prejudice. Marcus, calm but sharp, picks up the deed and stuffs it back in his folder. He looks Carl dead in the eye. "You tried to erase me from my own land. But this paper? This paper says I belong. And no amount of suspicion, no amount of hate, can take that away." The cops leave. Carl slinks back to his SUV, humiliated. And Marcus? He unlocks his front door, steps inside, and closes it behind him with a sense of victory, not because he won an argument, but because he proved something bigger, that no one can dictate where he belongs. But here's the kicker, and this part might surprise you. Later that week, Carl's wife shows up at Marcus's door. She looks tired, embarrassed. She apologizes on Carl's behalf, says he grew up in a world where people fed him lies about who should and shouldn't live in certain neighborhoods. She says, "He's stubborn, but maybe seeing you stand your ground will change him." Marcus listens. Doesn't say much. But he does something unexpected. He hands her a book, a history book about black homeownership in America. "If he wants to understand why this matters, tell him to read this," Marcus says. "Because this house isn't just mine. It's my family's redemption." And that right there is the moral. Don't ever let anyone write you out of the story you earned. Don't ever let suspicion steal your victory. Your name, your work, your proof, it's enough. And if people can't see it, that's their blindness, not your burden. So, viewers, let me leave you with this. If Marcus's story hit you, if it made you angry, proud, or even just think for a second, hit that like button. Drop a comment down below. What would you have done if you were in Marcus's shoes? And most importantly, share this story, because somebody out there needs to hear that they belong, even when the world tries to say otherwise. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, hit the subscribe button now and get instant notification for more interesting stories like this.